Intel is a game about strategy, intuition, and deception. Your objective is to find and track the agent card. At the beginning of the game, it will start in a random player's hand, and everyone will take turns playing cards to uproot information on others or sabotage them by stealing and swapping cards. Most of the time, the agent will be in the wild, shifting between players' hands, and it's your mission to track its potential movements. If you find yourself with the agent, do your best to lead others off your trail. It's not worth anything if everyone already knows it's in your hand. At the end of the round, everyone votes for who they think has the agent. Everyone that votes correctly gains points. The less people that vote correctly, the more points those correct voters will get. The player that ended with the agent will get even more points, but only if everyone doesn't vote for them at the end. If the agent successfully evades any votes at all, they get a whopping 15 points. However, they get less and less points the more players that vote correctly. If everyone votes correctly for them, the agent will get 0 points. There are a couple other things to keep track of, such as point cards, which you can exchange for extra points if you hold on to them until the end of the round. Another obstacle is the double agent, which is worth -3 points unless other players accidentally vote for it at the end of the round, in which case the double agent gets 3 points per player who voted for them. It's a very intense and tricky game, so use the best card strategies as well as the best social mind games that you have to maximize your points at the end of the round. Whoever has the most points at the end of 3 rounds is the ultimate winner. Good luck. To set up the game, first find and set aside the agent and double agent cards from the deck, as well as the included reference cards. Shuffle the remaining cards. After this, set down 5 cards per player. In this case, we have 4 people playing, so I'll be setting down 20 cards in total, 4 sets of 5 cards each. We want someone to start with the agent, so swap one of these cards for the agent card. Put the card you switched for the agent back into the draw pile. The hand should still have 5 cards each. Next, shuffle these hands together to randomize the agent's location and officially deal them back out to everyone. Now that the agent and the starting hands are ready, the only thing left to take care of is the double agent and the draw pile. We want the double agent to be drawn sometime during the first half of the game, so we're going to shuffle it into the top half of the deck. To do this, first split the draw pile into 2 halves the best you can. Don't worry too much about accuracy. Shuffle the double agent into one of these halves and put that half on top of the other half, and there you have your draw pile. After this, you're all ready to play. Each player should have 5 cards, one of them starting with the agent. The rest of the cards should be in the draw pile in the middle of the table, with the double agent in the top half. Now that everything is set up, everyone can look at their hands. Players will take turns going clockwise. For the first round, whoever yells, "I'll start," goes first. For remaining rounds, whoever ended the previous round with the agent card goes first. Turns are composed of 2 simple steps. First, you draw 1 card. After that, if you have less than 5 cards in your hand, you draw up to 5. This player has 6, so he doesn't draw anymore. Later in the game, if some of your cards get stolen and you start your turn with, say, only 2 cards, you'll draw the initial card and then draw up to 5. If you start a hand with a lot of cards, say like 7, you'll still draw 1 card. After you've drawn, pick from your hand which card you want to play. Once you've decided, put it in the discard pile and do the action described on the card. Alright, their turn is finished, so play continues clockwise. Keep taking turns like this until the last card is drawn from the draw pile. When this happens, it signifies the last turn of the game. The player that drew that card will play their turn, and after that, the round is over. At this point, have everyone close their eyes and think about who has the agent. On the count of 3, everyone will point to who they think has the agent. 3, 2, 1. Everyone then reveals their hands and you start tallying up the points. You can start with the agent points using the voting chart included with your game. In this 4-player game, if everyone guessed the agent correctly, they would get 3 points each while the agent gets 0. If 2 people guessed correctly, they would get 5 points each while the agent gets 8 points. If just 1 person guessed correctly, they and the agent would get 8 points each. And finally, if the agent somehow escapes any votes at all, they get 15 points while everyone else gets none. There's also a case if you're playing with more than 4 people where 3 or more players can guess correctly without that being everybody, and in that case, the agent will get 5 points while the correct voters get 3 points each. After you've tallied up all the agent points, next can be the double agent points. Whoever ended with the double agent card will lose or gain points. If no one voted for them, they lose 3 points. If anyone did vote for them, they gain 3 points per person who did. This is separate from the penalty, so the -3 penalty only applies if no one voted for them. Finally, add up any point cards players ended with in their hands. 1 point is worth 1 point, and 2 points worth 2. The only tricky card is the asset, which is worth 1 point by itself, but increases to a 5-point card if that player's hand had the double agent in it. In this particular game, McKenna got 8 points for having the agent and only getting voted by 1 person, and 3 points from point cards, for a total of 11 points. John, unfortunately, did not vote correctly or end with any point cards, and he ended with the double agent but did not get voted for, earning him a total of -3 points. Alex didn't vote correctly either, but he got 2 points worth of point cards, for a total of 2. In this case, the asset is only worth 1 point since it was not paired with the double agent. Finally, Ethan got 6 points from point cards, as well as 8 points for guessing the agent correctly, for a total of 14 points. After all of that tallying, here's the scoreboard. 2 more rounds and we'll have our overall winner. If you end the round and someone has both the agent and the double agent, essentially the double agent doesn't do anything except for -3 points. Any votes for this person will just count towards the agent voting chart and not the double agent voting chart. It can still be a good thing to have both in your hand mid-game, so if you get wiretapped, you have a choice of which of the agents to give. Whoever ends with the agent still has to vote. Their vote does not count towards the agent voting chart, but they're still required to vote just in case they accidentally vote for the double agent. If you find yourself in this situation, simply do your best to avoid voting for the double agent. The everybody row is just for when the agent gets voted out. You know if they get voted out if everyone who doesn't have the agent votes correctly for the agent. For example, if you're playing a 4-player game and all 3 non-agent players vote correctly for the agent, that's the everybody slot. If you're playing a 5-player game and 3 out of the 4 non-agent players vote correctly, that's not everybody, so it's just the 3+ player slot. Same thing for if 4 out of the 5 people vote correctly in a 6-player game. That last row is just for when the agent gets voted out by everyone else. Sometimes you'll find yourself with none of the usual action cards left. Usually a lot of point cards and maybe some firewalls or one of the agents. In this case, you'll have to discard a point card or a firewall to perform no action. On top of wasting a valuable card, this also usually puts a target on your back since it makes it obvious to everyone else you have a valuable hand. Do your best to avoid this situation. After the last card is drawn to signify the end of the round, just the person that picked up that card plays their turn. After that, the round is over and everyone prepares to vote. Yes, you can firewall at any time to nullify any action, even if you're not the target of that action. This is often a good idea late game if you already have a good idea where the agent is and maybe you don't want to allow any potential confusion to your plan. You can also firewall a firewall to nullify the initial firewall and reactivate the original action that was played, and this goes as many levels deep as you want it to. Whoever plays the surveillance card will choose 2 people to see if they have one of the agent cards. After those players are chosen, everyone closes their eyes except for the surveiller. The surveiller then tells the earlier 2 chosen players to give either a thumbs down or a thumbs up. Thumbs up if they have either the agent or the double agent card, and thumbs down if they don't. Again, all of this will only be visible to the person who played the surveillance card, not even the people who were picked. After the surveiller has seen the thumbs, they tell the 2 people to put their thumbs away, and then tell everyone to open their eyes. Play then resumes. If someone is hacked, they must give the hacker their most valuable point card. The order of value goes like this. Asset is the most valuable, followed by the 2-point card, then the 1-point card. If they have none of these cards, they simply give a card of their choice. If you play a data breach, all other players must choose a card from their hand to give you. These are laid face down in front of you until all cards are given. You then briefly shuffle them and pick one to put in your hand. The rest are briefly reshuffled and then put back on top of the deck. Play then resumes to the next player. The asset is worth 1 point by itself, but 5 points if you end the game with the double agent. This, of course, is because stealing the asset is the double agent's main mission outside of fooling people. If you end with both the agent and the double agent, it's still worth 5 points. That does it for this tutorial video. If you have any further questions about how to play, feel free to comment down below or check out more info at intelcardgame.com. Thanks for watching.